Welcome to the Virginia Civics and Economics lecture series. At the end of each slide, there will be a 5-second delay. Use this time to complete your notes. When you are done, push play and move on to the next slide. This presentation will begin in 5 seconds. Welcome to Virginia Civics and Economics Lecture 1.1, Introducing Civics and Economics. My name is Matthew Rossatini, and I am the luckiest civics teacher in the United States of America! You see, I teach civics and economics here in Virginia, the place where it all started. In 1606, a bunch of intrepid entrepreneurs founded the Virginia Company of London, and 1 year later they sailed here to Jamestown, Virginia, where they promptly failed at everything they tried to do. But while Jamestown is the first company in North America to be bailed out by the government, in this case the British, they also left us two important legacies. The first is representative democracy. It's here in Jamestown that we get our first representative government, and that forms the foundation for American civics. We also get modern economics. Our friends in Jamestown bring economics from England and establish American economics here in Virginia. So thank you, Virginia Company of London. You have made me the happiest teacher in North America. Go to the next slide. Yeah, so that happened. But I really am excited to teach you about Virginia Civics and Economics. You see, civics and economics are the cornerstone of American life. But before we can explain how these things apply to us in America, we need to define the terms civics and economics. Civics is the study of the rights and duties of citizens and of how government works. Civics is a discipline or one of the many things we study in a larger topic called social science, which generally focuses on the social life of human groups and individuals. What does all of this mean? Well, this year, you're going to learn about American government. You're going to learn about the different branches of government and how we elect people to represent us in government, and you're even going to learn about Virginia government. But you're also going to learn that being a good citizen is cool because it's also an important part of living in the United States. Then there's economics, which deals with the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services, or the material welfare of humankind. In other words, why do we buy stuff? Why do we sell stuff? Why do we make stuff? And how does all of this work in a larger or global environment? But what does civics have to do with economics? Well, you see, in this country, you need to understand economics to be a good citizen. It's no longer enough just to understand how your government works to be a productive member of American society. Go to the next slide. Now that we've defined the terms civics and economics, we need to understand the basic principles of each concept. So let's look at the basic principles of civics. The first principle is consent of the governed. The people are the source of any and all governmental power. You, me, your parents, and everyone else who lives in this country, we consent to be governed in a specific way. In other words, we, the people, have decided to live under a certain type of government. Well, what did we consent to? To answer that question, we need to talk to these guys. These guys are the founding fathers, and they decided that we would consent to live under something called limited government. Government is not all powerful and may do only those things the people have given it the power to do. And we set forth our government's power in the United States Constitution. We, the people, consent to be governed under a concept called limited government. But there's a third principle in civics, and we really don't talk about that principle enough. That is the rule of law. The government and those who govern, as well as those who are governed, that would be you and me, the citizens, are bound by the law. And our rules of law are written down in documents like the United States Code and the Code of Virginia. We write down the laws so that everybody knows what the law is, and we all must follow the rule of law in order for our country to work. Go to the next slide. Well, this is great. We consented to be governed under limited government. The government's only going to do what we tell it to do, and everyone's hopefully going to follow the rule of law. And if there are those people who don't want to follow the rule of law, there's probably consequences. But we still have one important question to answer. Who is actually in control of our government? Well, to answer that question, we need to look at two additional concepts: democracy and representative government. In a democratic system of government, the people rule. The citizens of that country rule, and the people control the actions of the government. But this occurs either through direct or indirect involvement with the government. You either live in a direct democracy or an indirect democracy. And to understand those ideas, we need to jump ahead in your education 1 year to World History 1 and talk about ancient Greece, specifically the city-state of Athens. You see, in ancient Athens, all citizens voted on the laws of the city. We call this direct democracy. If you were a citizen in Athens, you voted on the laws. There are over 370 million people living in the United States of America. Direct democracy is not going to work here. So, we use something called representative democracy. In the representative system of government, the people elect public office holders to make laws and conduct government on the people's behalf. This is different than in a direct democracy like Greece, in which all citizens vote or find consensus on policy issues. So unlike in Athens, when I vote, and eventually when you vote, you're going to vote for somebody like a United States congressperson. That person will go to the United States House of Representatives, and they will represent all of our interests when they make the laws. That's it for this lecture, and I look forward to seeing you in class.